All right, so moving on to religion, we have a new Bible story today. Yesterday, we read about Jesus being baptized. The day before that, we read about Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. Today, we're going to read about another guy named Gideon. Gideon's army, this is called. It says, some Israelites had settled in a valley that was good for farming, but they had to share the land with wandering tribes. So they had to share the land with other people. They moved in with their tents and their herds of cattle and sheep. Once again, the Israelites found themselves in trouble because they had turned away from God. They forgot they needed God's help. The wandering tribes robbed the Israelites and drove them out of their villages. The Israelites had to live in caves and in the mountains. So once again, they called on God for help. And God chose a new leader for his people. He chose Gideon. Gideon was a farmer. God came to him and said, I am giving you the power to save Israel. But how can I save Israel? Gideon asked. I am not an important man. I will help you, God told him. Gideon was not sure that he was actually really talking with the God of Israel, but then finally he did believe. Before long, Gideon had an army of 10,000 men. It's a lot. You don't need this many soldiers, God told Gideon. You don't need 10,000. It's too many. I'll test them and I'll tell you which ones should go with you. So God told Gideon to take the men down to the spring, which is like the water, and ask them to take a drink. So Gideon took all his soldiers down to the water and he asked them to take a drink. Most of the men got down on their hands and their knees and they drank either from their hand or their mouth in the spring. But 300 of them scooped up water in their hands and lapped it up with their tongues like dogs do. So they stood up, they just grabbed the water, and then they drank it out of their hand. This showed that the men who did this were alert and ready for anything. The men that got down, they were on the ground. So if somebody's going to come and maybe attack you or get you and you're on the ground, you're going to be weaker than if you were to be standing. So the men that were standing showed God and showed Gideon that they were ready for anything. These were the men that Gideon chose for his army. It would be 300 of Gideon's men against many thousands. At night, Gideon's army surrounded the enemy camp. Gideon gave each man a trumpet and a large clay jar with a burning torch inside. At his signal, the men broke the jars and then blew their horns. The light from the 300 torches and the noise of the 300 trumpets scared the enemies. They ran off in all directions and they never came back. As long as Gideon was their leader, the people of Israel lived in peace. So just like Joshua, Gideon's army didn't ever have to fight or hurt or kill anybody. All they did was blow their trumpets, break their jar, and the fire and the noise scared the enemy away and the enemy ran off. So next time we're going to read about a guy named Samson. So today all we have to do is, we're just going to color a little bit. It says, God is with you, Gideon. So first, I'm going to have you trace your letters today to give you some practice with writing. So you can trace your letters with a marker. I'm going to trace mine. I'm going to make mine a rainbow writing. God is with you, Gideon. And just like Moses, Gideon didn't know why God chose him. He said, I'm nobody special. Why are you choosing me? But God knows who can do the jobs that he wants, right? So trace your letters. You can trace them however you want. All right, and then we can color Gideon when you're ready. I'm gonna color his trumpet first. If we were at school, we would put glitter on his trumpet, but we're not. Darn. If you have glitter at home, you could put some glitter on there. Make his fire. I'm gonna do his fire with a little yellow, a little orange. And then I'm also gonna use my crayon for a little red. So the sound of the fire and the sound of the trumpet scared the enemy. Cool. They didn't even have to fight. Gideon. He's got a beard, looks like. A little mustache, his eyebrows, his hair. And there we have it. Looks good. God is with you, Gideon. All right, press pause if you need to finish.